Listen, I told you probably aren't gonna wanna hear this stuff. Almost like cheating yourself out of your own goals. We will experience the exact same days in the exact same situations, much different because of our mindsets and our outlooks. Let's get situated. Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Megs. I make a lot of self-care, wellness, and mindset content. I'm on this health journey, finding my balanced routine that works for my life. And I'm trying to just learn a bunch of things, and I love sharing everything I learn with you guys here on Instagram. So do make sure that you subscribe so you never miss any new videos. Let me get situated here. And today we are going to do a little bit of a chats with Megs with a little bit of a twist. We're gonna do a hair oiling chats. Chats with Megs is a little series that I would really like to get back into here on YouTube, where it's just a really informal sit down chit chat. And hair oiling chats is actually a little mini series I started on the TikTok, where I pretty much just do a little chit chat every time I oil my hair. So if you wanna check these ones out, they're right over here. So today we're just gonna do a little hair oiling chit chat chats with Megs. Just this a little bit better. Did that even make a difference? And if you're like, what on earth is hair oiling? Well, I made a whole video about the whole process of hair oiling, how I figured out what oils to use for my hair. So the ones I use are mainly for hair growth and hydration. So if that's a hair goal that you're interested in, if you wanna know what hair type hair oiling is suited for, all that, I talk about that in this video, so definitely go give it a watch. But of course, I need to introduce what I'm using in today's video. So for my scalp, this is actually an old skincare bottle that I use, and I just made my little concoction of rosemary oil and jojoba oil. So rosemary oil is known for hair growth. It's meant to help stimulate your scalp. However, you can't use it on its own because it is a pretty powerful essential oil. So you do need to dilute it with a carrier oil. And the one that I like to use is jojoba oil. It's non-comedogenic. It's really nice and gentle on the scalp, but still very effective. And then for the lengths of my hair, I love to just use good old-fashioned coconut oil. If you're gonna be like me and do this on the ground, have a towel laid out, wear some clothes that are a little bit older, and let's get started. Today's video, I wanted to hit you with a little bit of a mindset chat. I haven't done one of these in a long time, and it's one of those things where it's like, you don't want to hear it, but you know you need to hear it. So I know when I first started doing my mindset transformation, where I was trying to kind of work on my mindset and become a kind of more positive person, I didn't want to hear this stuff, but I needed to, and I did, and it helped me so much. And I definitely haven't talked a lot about this recently on my channel, about how I'm just consistently trying to grow my mindset and work on it. I love personal development. That's a really big part of kind of who I was years ago, how I've transformed, and how I was kind of able to just find myself. About 6 months ago, I made a video about how I kind of felt lost in life, and I didn't really know kind of what to do, what the next steps were, and I kind of just posted about the different little steps that I'm gonna take. And I finally feel like now, 6 months later, I'm getting my sparkle back. Please enjoy my day 5 hair. It's great. But anyways, I feel like I'm finally getting my sparkle back. I'm finally kind of finding myself and figuring things out. And so a lot of that has had to do with mindset work and figuring out where my mindset was lacking, where it was a little bit more negative, where I did just actually need to do the hard digging and face the truth of it's not where it should be and it needs to change. So what is mindset? You're okay, cool, you're talking about this mindset concept, but what is mindset? Mindset is essentially your frame of mind on how you perceive things, how you see the world, how you see different situations in life, how you basically accept and perceive different things that happen in life. You can have a positive mindset, negative mindset, a very abundant mindset, a very lacking mindset, a very open and accepting mindset, very closed off, and very there's just so many different things that you can experience, and you can have different mindsets for different things in life. It's just a very complex topic. And mindset is one of those things where it's you almost have to be aware of your own mindset and do the work. Otherwise, you're kind of going to just stay in the mindset usually that your parents taught you. Because a lot of the things that we grow up learning and the framework of how we think, how we see things, how we accept things, a lot of that is molded by the people that took care of us and raised us, which in most cases is our parents or people that we are very close to growing up. And I've said this in previous videos before, I used to have a pretty negative mindset. So not saying that I was a negative person, but I was just one of those people that I was like, I always expected the worst, because in my mind, if you expect the worst and the worst does happen, you're like, okay, well, I was expecting it. And then if the worst doesn't happen, you're like, well, that's a bonus because I was expecting the worst and it didn't happen. But like, that's just like not a good way of seeing the world, at least to me. Look, this is like also subjective, but to me, like that's just not a good way of seeing the world. You attract what you put out, quite bluntly. And if you are just perceiving everything in a negative way, more negative things will happen. If you're perceiving things in a positive way, more positive things will happen. Like, have you heard of it's like a TikTok concept right now. It's called lucky girl syndrome. And so what that is essentially believing and constantly saying, I am lucky, I attract good luck, good things happen to me. Like, just kind of like forcing yourself to almost believe and act as if you are a very lucky person, and you will be. That, like, if you say that, if you believe it, you will naturally just be lucky and the stars will just align for you. And like, look, this might sound woo-woo to people who have not really like learned about mindset or ever like heard about it, looked into it. However, I feel like everybody who has ever done mindset work will agree and be like, yeah, that's literally what it is. Like, what you put out is what you attract. If you put out negativity, you will naturally attract more negativity. If you put out positivity, you will naturally attract more positivity. And it's also one of those concepts of like, if you put out positivity, you will notice the positive things more and the negative things less. If you put out negativity, you will notice the negative things more and the positive things less. Like, you and me could have the exact same day, like start to finish. If I'm more positive or I'm more negative, we will experience the exact same days in the exact same situations, much different because of our mindsets and our outlooks. Listen, I told you probably aren't gonna wanna hear this stuff. I'm just gonna give myself a nice little scalp massage here. It's hard, it does take work, and like, yeah, really bad things can happen to you, and you don't have to be positive. This isn't about toxic positivity and always just being like, oh yeah, like I'm positive no matter what. No, it's like, you can be negative, you can be sad, but at the end of the day, like, life is still good and like good things can still happen. So now the next thing that was like kind of a big mindset hurdle that I had to get over when changing my mindset and working towards kind of becoming the person that I was, to be my own cheerleader, but at the same time, be my own coach. No one, I mean, no one should love you more than you love yourself. It's no one's job to be your coach. It's your job to be literally your number one supporter, but also your number one motivator. And that's hard. And it's hard to sometimes be self-motivated. It's hard to sometimes be like your own cheerleader, especially when life gets tough and things don't necessarily work out the way that you want them to work out. You have to believe, you have to begin to believe, and just truly in your heart believe that you are capable of achieving anything you want to achieve, that you are able to do it, and that it will happen for you. The first step of like achieving anything in life is believing like, yes, this is going to happen for me. It's meant to happen for me. I don't know when, and I know I need to put in the work to get there, but it will happen. Listen, everybody has their own stuff to focus on, and you cannot, it's almost unfair to rely on other people to be the constant coach and the constant motivation and love for yourself. Like, nothing wrong with having a coach or having people that are in your corner constantly motivating you. Of course not, that's completely different. What I'm talking about is like, you need to work on having that in yourself first, and then everything else is a bonus. So the next part of this is to remember to push yourself. How many times have you told yourself, I'm gonna wake up early, I'm gonna work out? Like, this is such a classic example, but I think it's because it relates to a lot of us. Like, I'm gonna wake up early tomorrow and I'm going to work out. And then your alarm rings in the morning and you're like, nah, screw it. Like, I'm good, I'll just sleep in. But like, you know that you should have gotten up and worked out. And then later on in the day, when you wake up an hour or two later and rush to work, you're like, shit, I really should have done that. Same thing goes with like when you're doing your workout and you have like a couple more reps left or a couple more exercises left, and you're like, I'm just not gonna do that. I'm gonna skip them because maybe you don't like them, or maybe you don't like feel like doing them anymore. Like, you know, it's like you're almost like cheating yourself out of your own goals. Obviously, there's a fine line between forcing yourself to do something and wanting to do something, but at the end of the day, it's like you should make yourself do it, especially on the days that you don't want to do it. That is where the growth happens. The growth happens when you do things that are uncomfortable, feel uncomfortable. listen, everyone will tell you that's where the growth happens. Same thing with like another relatable example is like you want to start a side business or you want to start a side project, and rather than working on it when you have time in the evenings and on the weekends, you are binge watching a show. You are constantly going out and partying. Like there is a lot of like give and a lot of like tension with it when you are trying to like reach your goals, be your motivator, change your mindset, but like you got to do the work. It's not fun. It's not always like, you know, rainbows and unicorns, and it's not always those motivational videos where you get all hyped up and you're like, yeah, let's go. Like it's not all that. Most of it is being like, I got to do this and I really don't want to do it, but I know that this is going to help me get closer to my goals. Therefore, I'm gonna push through that mental block of I don't wanna do it, and I'm just gonna get it done. And like you'll realize that most of the time when you're like, I don't wanna do it, and then you make yourself do it and you get it done, you feel so much better. You feel so much more accomplished. There's a lot of people out there who talk a lot about motivation, who talk a lot about mindset work, and I definitely recommend looking into that and just seeing like who you resonate with. There's a bunch of people that I love to watch that I just feel like every time I watch one of their videos, I get like remotivated. So make sure, just do your research, look into it. If this is something that does like spark some motivation and you're like, you know what, I do need to work on this. I do want to change. Like even me, I've been doing mindset work for like 3-4 years now, and just consistently, like it's an evolution. You keep on realizing like what's the next hurdle, what's the next block, and like what can we work towards and change. So I told you, this was something you're probably not gonna wanna hear. I just felt my elastic snap in my hair. Does anyone else do this where they put like all their scrunchies on their brush? Self-development, mindset work, it's like such a beautiful thing. And then when you kind of see your mindset change and your perception on things change, it's a domino effect. Like once you see things in a different perspective, you'll notice that kind of everything that follows that different perspective. It's pretty darn cool. So anyways, if you did appreciate this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want a little bit more mindset chit chats, let me know. I know it's been a while since I did one of these, but that is all for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. Know yourself, know your body, and until next time.